Good morning. My name is Colleen Flores. I'm the Chief of Police for the Verne Police Department. I was raised mostly in Upland, California. In high school, I spent a few years in Pennsylvania and came back and graduated from Upland High School. So when I was 15 years old, I worked part-time at a restaurant as a hostess, and the police officers would come in on their lunch break and they would write police reports. And because I don't have any family in law enforcement, I didn't really understand what they were doing. I was very inquisitive, and they were very kind and answered a lot of my questions about what they were doing, and they would explain to me what a police report was. They were writing an investigation, and it intrigued my interest immediately, and I had asked so many questions that one of them suggested I look into the Explorer program. And the Explorer program is a volunteer program that most police departments have. It falls under the realm of under Boy Scouts of America, and typically young kids from the age of 14 to 18 can volunteer at police departments and work side by side with the officers, work special events. When I first became an Explorer, I went through 2 different Explorer academies, and in that experience I really learned a lot, and I was able to understand how large law enforcement really is, and that you really can make a difference in many different avenues. So during the Academy for Explorers, I realized I think I might want to be a police officer, although at such a young age I realized I needed more time to understand exactly what I might be getting into. So as a 4-year Explorer at Upland Police Department, every time I worked at events or was called in to help with an investigation, I just knew this is something I really wanted to do. So after I did about 4 years of the Explorer program at the Upland Police Department is when I was introduced to a paid position, which is a cadet program. Most police departments also have a cadet program, and I was fortunate enough to find the Chino Police Department was hiring. They have a robust cadet program, and when I was hired there, they introduced you to even more aspects of law enforcement. Some of the cadets were assigned to records, some to the criminal investigations. I was assigned to the traffic division, and in there I learned how to file the misdemeanor arrests, which would be DUIs, unlicensed drivers, and I actually filled out the paperwork, took them to court. And I was also subject to call out, and any major traffic collisions, any major fatal traffic collisions, I would be called out in the middle of the night as a 19-year-old and help them do the investigation, take pictures, take measurements, and it was an excellent learning experience. The exposure grew tremendously, and the more I was exposed, the more I really believed that this is what I wanted to do. As I was getting older, I needed to get more of a full-time position instead of a part-time position. I was able to apply for the dispatcher position at Chino while I waited for a police officer position to become available. I went through the 6-week training course. I was assigned to dispatch, and on my first day, the training sergeant came in and said that there was a position available for a police officer and asked if I could put myself through the police academy, which is what we call pre-service. And at the time, the academy was 5.5 months. And through that, I had to, because I was living in an apartment, I had to get a personal loan to pay my rent while I was attending the academy. And that's how I moved out of the police cadet role, police dispatcher, that was only 1 day, into the police academy role. But what happens often is recruiters come and they're looking to hire. Arcadia had sent their recruiters to the police academy and interviewed me and offered me a job. And then I ended up going back to my sergeant at Chino and asking what to do because I was torn. I loved working there, and being unsure, I felt this sense of loyalty, and the sergeant had explained that the best thing to do is to go where you're going to be paid and get benefits. And Chino wasn't willing to do that until the end of the academy, and Arcadia came only 3 weeks in. So I signed a contract with Arcadia, and I wore the Arcadia patches the rest of the academy, and next thing I know, I did 22 years at the Arcadia Police Department. So although I didn't have any family or close friends in law enforcement, my family and friends were very supportive. You know, being a young kid, it's tough anyways, and so if you can find any career path, I believe the most important thing you can do is support them, and I was very fortunate to receive that all around. Even though nobody really understood, and even I quite didn't understand what I was getting into, they were all very supportive, and that's what helped me get to where I am today. After police officer, I applied and made it to the detective bureau. I started as a burglary detective, which is when someone breaks into someone's house or car or business. I also applied to be on the SWAT team and was the first female on the SWAT team at Arcadia. Lots of experience came from that. What I liked most about the team was the extra training that we got, because although you need it for the special operations and the call-outs, for the incidents that you respond to, it gave us that more of an edge on the day-to-day operations when you're working patrol and when you're doing search warrants in the detective bureau. That training is invaluable, and it made us all safer at the end of the day. From that, I became a narcotics detective, and I was able to get on a special assignment for a little over 3 years. On a multi-jurisdictional task force, I was given an opportunity to be an observer in a helicopter. Because most of the job was surveillance, we flew above 3,000 feet, sometimes up to 10, to try and be discreet so we would follow subjects. And when I was on that assignment, oftentimes we'd be all over the state of California. The pilots were certified flight instructors, so because I was inquisitive, just like a young person, a hostess at a restaurant, I'd ask a lot of questions. And they would say, let's start flying, because the helicopters we flew in had dual controls. So for the 3+ years I was on this assignment, when I was an observer, I would fly us back and eventually got my written pilot's license and learned how to fly and land helicopters. It was a lot of fun. I came back from that task force to the Arcadia Police Department. I was promoted to sergeant and worked patrol. I was in charge of the field training officer program, the jail, many other duties. In 2009, I was promoted to lieutenant, which is a management position and overseeing many different operations. I was also able to attend Command College, where I got a graduate degree in adaptive decision making and also got my master's degree in organizational leadership. So I worked at Arcadia for 22 years, and in 2018 an opportunity came up to apply for a captain's position at the Verne Police Department, which is the city I live in, and I took that opportunity. I started working at Verne in January of 2018, and I really only knew a couple of people, and I didn't know them very well. My first job was really to introduce myself to everybody and to get them to understand who I am, and so I could help them with whatever they might need. And my mentors at Verne are mostly the people that work for me. They're incredible team members, and they put the community of Verne first, and that makes our job so much easier. They're very selfless and work for the greater good, and that to me is inspiring. I became chief of the Verne Police Department on January 1st, 2022. I never saw myself becoming chief of police. I never believed I would be the chief of police. When I came into this job, as I mentioned, as an explorer and then a cadet, my only goal was to become a police officer, and when I did, I thought I was the luckiest person in the world. I couldn't believe that I got there. I never really aspired to be a chief. I just love the job. I love the people. I love everything about our profession. I love the camaraderie. I love the changes we can make in the community. I love building the trust in our community. So on any regular day, I attend a lot of meetings. Some of the meetings I attend is LA Impact is a regional anti-crime task force, and many agencies in LA participate in it, and I'm on the executive board of that, so we make decisions about where the funding's going to go, what meetings we have. I'm on a board for ComNet, which is our radios, so we discuss also the future of that, the technology we have to save to upgrade those programs. We also have personnel meetings. For example, tomorrow we have a staff meeting, which is our sergeants and above, where we're going to work on the budget. We're going to talk about operational issues. I am so envious of all the people I work with, and you can ask any of them. Often I'm in their area because I want to see what's going on. I want to see how their day's going. This morning I checked on our records clerks, and we talked about space issues that we have because our building's a little small, so we got really creative and we started putting things on walls and moving things around which you would never think a chief would be doing that, but it's my way of showing them support because their creativity is what solves our problems. It's not me. So if we can help from the line level and make their job more streamlined, it helps us all in the long run. It's hard to discuss challenges, and the reason I say that is when you see the first women in law enforcement and you see the pictures from the 60s of them wearing skirts and heels and doing the same job that I do today, that I can't imagine what that challenge is. So I always try to keep a perspective of, even though everybody's job has stress and challenges, I can't imagine what it would have been like then. The other challenges come throughout the 27 years that I've been doing this along with all my coworkers. Is we see a lot of tragedy, and we finally in law enforcement are expanding all of our wellness programs, and Laverne does an excellent job of contracting with the counseling team to help our personnel get through all of the tragedies that we see. And when I first started, there was very little help for the things that we deal with. So I'm very proud that those challenges are being met with great resources. My future goals are to ensure that we continue to build trust in our community, and we have a great team that's willing to do it, from captain all the way down to officer, records, and dispatch. Our whole team is committed to this community, and I'm so proud of that, and I want to spread that further. One of the goals that we'd like to do is, we call it a service area program, where we break the city into different coordinates, and I assign a lieutenant in charge of each area. And they'll be special problem solvers, if you will, because a lot of our contacts with the community are just a call for service. And we try to resolve it as quickly as we can so we can move on to the next call for service. Some issues need a lot more time and TLC to resolve. So we're going to give special attention to different areas in our community for long-term issues, short-term issues, growing our neighborhood business watch program. That's what we're trying to do, is get more involved that way. That's a goal that I have. The other one is succession planning, is just preparing everybody to take the next step. Although I never saw myself moving forward in the next step, I can see in many people that they are ready to help run this department, and we need to keep moving them up the promotional ladder and giving them all the training and all the tools they need to succeed. Now, we have many people that won't promote or can't promote. They're in a position that there is nowhere to move. And I still want to give everybody the tools and training and anything they need so they can be the best at what their current position is. The best part about working in Laverne is the support that we get from the community. Anytime there's an event, they're supporting us, whether it's in our town or not. And with that, helps us get stronger. And I say that because I can reach out to so many members in our community, and we all work together to continue to build trust. The community is something that we really value and we appreciate. Nearly half of our police officers and employees live in the town. We're raised in this town, so they have a special investment, and they'll do anything to help. I think life experience and every job I've ever had prepared me to be where I'm at today, along with all of the support that comes with it. You learn early on how to help people, deal with people, but it's a tough job, and you really can't get through it without the support of family, friends, even your own department. And I was very fortunate. Everywhere I worked, I've had that support. You have to push yourself every once in a while, but I'm so very fortunate that I'm still, at the end of the day, I'm a police officer and I still love it.